What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Game Channel. I'm AJ Gills, guys. I am going to continue on with my PSX coverage. I'm not sure if this is going to be the only PSX video I put up today, mostly because I'm not sure how much I can get recorded, edited, and uploaded before I have to leave. I mentioned this in a Assassin's Creed Origins video that went up late last night, but over the next couple days, I'm going to be gone. I will be back on Saturday. I will answer comments, everything on the channel then. And so for then, just videos are just kind of continue to go up. Just, I'm putting stuff up ahead of time, all that general stuff. But, yeah, we're going to kind of do what we did with the last video when we covered the Faye demo. I really like that. I like the style. I like these shorter ones. I have 3 games that we're going to look at in this video. We have the current trailer I have queued up. This is Gang Beats. God, I can't. One more time. Gang Beasts, Vane, and The Forest. I have all 3 of these demos set up for this video. I have another 3 game demos that were, no, not 3, another 2 game demos that we're going to go through in the next one, and I'm going to save the Last of Us Part 2 trailer for when I get back on Saturday. So, without further ado, that's enough talking. Let's get into this stuff.
Alright, here we are. We're going to play a little Gang Beasts. This is one I think we've all been looking forward to.
Oh, man.
Long time coming.
Yeah, so
you picked me up because you knew I was going to beat
That's
you guys.
right.
Right.
Now
That's
I'm not.
right.
My controller's not working, and I don't get to play. So you guys get to play.
That's right. It was a conspiracy.
It was a conspiracy theory. I've been looking forward to this all day. That's so not fair.
Oh.
Whatever.
Face kick.
No.
Yeah.
Not me and my comb over are strong.
So Gang Beasts has been in development now for some time. So tell us a little bit about kind of where you guys are at and when this thing's coming out.
Man, we are at the door to Christmas. This game comes out on the 12th.
Nice.
Quite literally. So we've been working on it for 3 years in early access on Steam. I still might be alive.
I'm not.
Yes.
I'm alive.
Yes, so where we are right now is we've added all our new features. We've been smoothing out online multiplayer, and it's ready to be given to all these beautiful people during the Yule season. Come here, girl. Oh, I got the wrong person.
Machine on the face.
And I mean,
Wow,
how
you
would
are
you
strong,
describe
Morty.
this game? Because it's a weird game.
It's true. It's sort of beyond description, but lovable no matter how you describe it. So it's sort of like King of the Hill in its play mechanics. Last man standing is the champion. It's a brawler. One of the lovely things that you'll notice is there are no animations. It's all physics. That's why I can do this kind of stuff here. While Morty hangs out in the subway.
I'm trying to get out.
Look at that hair.
I don't
Don't fall down.
I'm going to keep kicking him.
There we go.
Oh!
Incredible.
Oh, come on.
Only in Gang Beasts.
Only. Yeah, so, yeah, that's what you get. And have some train. Peace. Yeah, so there's no real throw. You have to gain momentum by dragging and picking up the other person's physical body, like so.
It's the closest thing I've seen to a real fight.
Woo! And then, so because there's no animations and you're driving a little physics body, it's sort of like driving a toddler.
And you won.
Okay, so we're going to try and get me on the next game now? I really want to play.
Yeah, we do got to get you in.
Yeah, we got you because you put in a code that time. That's why you won. I mean,
Cheat code. Yeah, I was cheating.
Of course.
Yeah, I have some special cheats I've been slapping at over here. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up,
Let's see
down,
if
up,
we can
down.
get you out of here,
Left,
Merritt.
right.
That was just a
Seriously,
warm-up.
yeah.
that was warm up.
for you
Yeah, that was
guys.
warm up.
It's
That one didn't
fun.
count. Didn't
Yeah.
count.
And so, yeah, we've been
I wanna get some
perfecting all our
makeup.
stages, and like each stage is a different sort of deadly 80s movie throwback scenario. Did you hit X again?
Yeah, look.
Got your weird.
And it's all lit up.
It is. It looks like it's liking it.
It's because it's fine. Whatever.
Just
Whatever.
provide some commentary here.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Oh, I'm the
Feel
girl.
free
I
to
get
ask
to be the
20 questions.
cheerleader. Awesome.
Not a cheerleader. I mean,
Thanks.
just like, strategic guidance.
Oh, wow. Look at this.
I do like the Morty.
Police.
Wubble up, up,
Yeah.
yeah.
Double pickle Rick. Look at that unibrow. That is unibrow tech. That's all mocapped.
I mean, okay, already. Interesting concept. Maybe not my kind of game, but I find it interesting. I like the physics-based physics-based models. There we go. And yeah, not much to say about this. This This sure is interesting.
Browser mode.
About all I got.
So I gotta say, the amount of physics, the sheer amount of physics calculations that are going on in the game here, like Gang Beast, has got to be just extraordinary.
Yes, and you know, touchdown. See you later, Morty.
Wow.
That was quick.
So, yes, tons of physics, always boiling to a crack. And that was a huge thing for us as Unity changed, new Unity came out, reevaluating, getting a grip on all the physics to make everything flow and feel doughy. And one of the things, too, is getting the feel right, because Gang Beast is this game where we've always tried to just make it more of what it is. And so you want some confusion with your body when you're in this world, but you still want to be able to.
All right, let's
Nimble,
go.
would you like to play?
Yes, I was.
Yeah,
love
get
to
in
play.
there. I'll
Thank
just
you.
Come on, girl.
Yes.
So hit to the left joystick.
Yeah.
and you
Oh, can I
change
be
it
the
out.
cop?
Of course you can be the cop.
Now, how many modes we do? We've seen a couple of these different.
We have some
modes,
brand new
so-
modes. We have something called soccer. You might have heard of it. It's a human
okay.
sport. Yes, it's very popular. We have Gang Beast Soccer, which largely involves punching and some scoring. We put it in as a prototype, and we played it all night, so it stuck. And then we have Waves mode coming as well.
Oh,
as well as
no.
all of your. Whoa,
I mean, that was
that's awesome.
Didn't have to do anything.
Look
I
at
didn't
Sullen.
even-
Yeah, Sullen.
Wubba lubba dub, yeah!
I threw you and I forgot to let go. I got so
Depressed
excited.
Rick looks
Depression
so
Rick.
excited.
Yeah, so and this game is a blast to make because of early access. You see people enjoy it for what it is, and you just make it more of what they're enjoying.
I'll be the pervy naked one.
What's up with who's Doughboy?
I'm excited to be Doughboy.
Mr. Poop?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that one. That one's
Soft
fun.
Serve, Mr. Soft Serve.
Soft
Maybe is
Serve,
more
that's
politically
So
correct.
every time on the PlayStation social media, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, anytime we post about this, people go crazy. And I know at a bunch of live events that you guys have done, gaming events, it also attracts a humongous crowd. So like, what's
It's a
the
crowd
story with
pleaser.
that?
It's like the only game I've ever been a part of where you turn around and look at everyone playing, and it's all teeth. It's just all these smiling people, like, ah. And I think the big thing is that this game is slapstick, and it's a humor and an entertainment that no one rejects.
No.
You know, it's just people knocking each other out, and it just like Prince smiles,
Like
like
control-
Yeah.
you're just like ah, and everyone loves to root and cheer. Also,
How many
too,
different costume combinations can you actually have?
gajillions?
Okay.
We were gonna put millions in the trailer, and then we were like, is it really millions?
Is there really?
I don't really know what's.
The lawyers
There's
might have something
plenty.
to say
Yeah,
about
I
that.
will tell you there was only one pair of socks. I don't know if that's
Okay.
more or less
Okay.
important. Yeah, socks are not. Gang Beasts don't need them, as you'll see. Look at that, barefoot into the world.
Oh yeah.
Dress that whole
You don't
body
need
up.
socks when you're just doing a little nudge.
Little
kick.
yeah,
totally.
little nudge
Kicking
kicks.
somebody in
Rubber,
the face.
rubber. Their whole body is a shoe sole.
Oh, I
so
like
there's
that.
a
I like the
million.
little
There's a
lady.
million,
That's
and you
really
can
cute, yeah.
customize and save, so you can have like that dress
Like
with
your
Rick's
like
hair.
custom character.
Yeah,
You can make
yeah.
that one that way.
And already people are doing that. When you check it out online, they're just looking ridiculous.
So are
Garish.
you guys thinking about, now that you're coming out any day now, really? I mean, you're coming out.
2 days.
Yeah, 2 days. Well, Tuesday.
Yeah,
Tuesday, right?
Yeah,
Seems
Tuesday.
how Tuesday, we've been hearing about it for years, so I know a lot of people are going to be really excited about that. But what's your plan post-launch? Are you going to come up with some more
We have a
content?
ton of levels. We've for a long time been talking and ruminating on single-player campaigns and what that is for Gang Beasts and how cool that could be. All kinds of things. And we're just gonna. I think it's important to see how all these humans enjoy it and continue to make it more of what they're enjoying. So we might change some plans. We might.
So I mean, you seen them duke it out right there. You know, they grab differently depending on where they can get the hands on the body. I mean, that makes sense, but again, it's just so interesting to see a game like it's not based on damage. So punching is just basically trying to push the other person. The grabbing, the throwing. I think they mentioned everybody looks like a toddler in this game because looks like nobody can stand up. It's really interesting.
Stick to some plans, but definitely a bunch more levels that are nice and deadly. And nice move! That was fantastic. Hey,
now you gotta-
what's up with Depression Rick? Depression
Depression
He's
Rick.
giving up
showing his
on life.
bald
Rick
spot
just
to
got
the
done.
world.
Rick just got done, came back off a bender.
Alcohol is real. Yeah, that's what happens when you're drinking on a
Alcoholism
blimp.
is real.
You get, yep.
Uh-oh. Don't fall off.
And so
Wait it
on
out.
this level, some of my favorite streamers, Stumped, they learned how to flip the blimp. And they
Really?
get on either
What?
side, yeah. They get on either side in pairs, and they rock and roll. They let go, and then they drop their weight.
So is there
and they
a team-
rotate the entire blimp.
So is there like a team aspect where you guys
You
can
can
gang
fight
up
in
together?
gangs. Yeah, we
Okay.
created gang fights so that, you can be 3-on-1, 2-on-2, and then when you play online, there's double that many people. So you can have a blast, include or exclude your friends, whatever you're into. Beat up your
Oh,
friends. Beat up your
Okay.
buddies, yeah. And
I
that's
had,
the
I
thing,
had it in the bag there, and
at the very end. Also, too, like with gang beasts, like you were saying, when there's a crowd, like you'll see like the fun excludes no one. So like a 9-year-old can have the same fun as like a 50-year-old who primarily plays SOCOM. They'll sit next to each other and just be like,
For people at home who've never played gang beasts,
Yeah.
can you tell them about the controls?
yes. So
let's
you're
do one
basically-
more here real quick while you talk.
Oh yeah, go
Okay.
for it. So you're basically driving a body. So the top bumpers are your right and left arm, and you punch with them by tapping those bumpers. If you hold those bumpers, you grab with those hands, and then you hit triangle to pick people up. And then spinning your body is how you get momentum, and you utilize physics. It's like science. Science!
Oh, I got
Mixed
my.
with-
Oh,
Melee!
Now, what
and then
does
there's
punching actually accomplish?
it will knock people out. So your headbutt is actually stronger.
Okay.
Have you tried headbutting? You guys
No.
aren't. So once you get good at this, Michael, one of the developers who helped come up with all this, is like a ninja, and he plays it like it's parkour. Like it's intense. The first thing, you walk in like this, the first thing he does is punch you twice and then jump on you on the ground and throw you over the cliff. So you can actually get incredibly adept by utilizing the weight drop, both forward and backward. And you can be nimble, man. I thoroughly expect 10-year-old boys to be certifiable gang beast ninjas in no time. There is a learning curve. Man, I want to play too.
I know, right? I can see how this
Oh,
is
look
a
at
good
that.
point.
There we
We got a
go.
switch. What was
Wait.
that?
what
That
happened?
happened?
Something happened.
I don't know. Something
Something
But
happened.
it wasn't the something we wanted.
There's
This is
no blue van.
girders. I don't know if you guys have ever fought on the top of a building. I have.
Every now and then.
This is just like it.
So you have to think about that when they're like, if is it going to be windier up here? Is there anything like that? happening?
No, it's just fun to fall. So look at that hole in the floor. We try to make things like pleasantly destructible, unlike real life. Oh! The working mom just committed suicide.
Get off
Oh, I win.
me, Mr.
Blue
BC.
boy. Yep, Mr. Meeseeks all the way. Loaded with Rick and Morty properties. Yeah,
Outstanding.
down to one.
I mean, it's been quite a journey with this game. I mean,
Has.
this is third or fourth PSX, I think, with this game here.
Yeah, and every time learn something new. And then the big thing for us the last year has been just all the polish it takes to make a lovable thing truly lovable in its user experience.
Yeah.
So working on UI, working
get off
on
me.
integration
Get
of
off me.
online matchmaking and all these things. And selecting HDMI while we play. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey,
man.
that's,
That was
that's
the
Gang
cue.
Beast.
Yes.
Looking great,
Indeed.
coming out in just a couple of days.
December
and
12th, new for you.
very, very exciting to play it. So let's check that out.
Huh. I really don't have a lot to say about that. That's very interesting concept. A game I wouldn't. I wouldn't say I wouldn't play. I just don't have friends to play it with. But really interesting concept. And yeah, I like again, I keep saying I like how it's all physics based. I like the sense of humor, the environments, I really can see that game catching on and really becoming big. All right, actually now we're gonna move on to our next trailer. We're gonna watch a little bit for the game Vane, which is a game I've actually not heard of.
Wanted to talk about a game that's definitely on my radar, and that is Vane. And luckily, we've got Matt from Friend and Foe here with us today. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about the setup for Vane. I mean, I know it's kind of got this minimalist kind of look and feel.
Right.
And we are going to check out some new gameplay here shortly, but tell me a little bit about, like, what do fans need to know about this game?
Well, we kind of want people coming in cold.
Yeah.
We want, it's a very mysterious world. The game is basically an exploration of a strange place. And if you know that, I think that's pretty much all you need to know. It's
That's
like,
it. Segment done.
I mean, it's sort of it's got some standard sort of third-person exploration, platformy kind of controls to it, but it's about this strange world that starts off as a desert, but there's hints of more stuff to it, and really you're just exploring it and uncovering it kind of layer by layer and trying to piece together what happened or who your character is or what the relationships between the different things you find in the world
That's great, and we got that new gameplay footage running right now. This is coming
Just cut them off.
gorgeous aesthetic to this one. I mean, I think it looks Really, really pretty. And
Thanks a lot.
you know, how do you respond? I've heard sometimes some folks will kind of compare it a little bit to Journey or something like that. What's your reaction to that?
I mean, you can't help but be flattered, right? I mean, that's pretty much it.
I can see where you get Journey from kind of the direction of the art. Yeah, for some reason, first thing as soon as I saw that kid like running up and pushing that thing, I thought like The Last Guardian stuff from like Team Eco, personally.
The Journey is a really fantastic game, and we're flattered by the comparison. I think our game is a little bit different. Obviously, you ask any creator,
Sure.
and they're gonna talk about what makes their game unique. But
It seems to have a little bit of a darker feel than Journey did.
yeah, and it's a little bit like it's very much like we want players to find their own way in this world. You know, like we want players to sort of carve their own path, and we don't really want to hold people's hands. We don't really want to tell them where to go. So like in this big environment, we're not really showing you specifically where to go. You kind of have to find that out for yourself.
Now the character just turned into a bird.
Yes.
Did I just
Yeah.
see that?
That is
was
worth
correct. That was-
mentioning.
That
I
was
think. Thank
actually
you for
correct.
that. Yeah.
So when the game starts, you'll actually be a bird when the game starts. This section of the game is a little bit further in, and the character can transform. There's a mysterious kind of golden substance in the world that affects that transformation, and that golden substance also starts to have effects on other things in the world. And you might see some interesting, like the world kind of looking a little glitchy or moving around or whatever. That's the effect of that substance.
Now, is it like a goo or a powder or
It's
an energy or something like that?
It's gold is the way we see it.
Okay.
Is what we call it. But it's sort of yeah, it's just a mysterious metallic substance.
Okay.
It's got this mysterious power to it.
And here we're perching on this, you know, this pole or whatever this is, this bar with these other birds. How did that work?
So there's some mechanisms. It's sort of unclear maybe why these mechanisms might be here, but they are there and you can interact with them. As a bird, you really can't do very much in this game. Most of the gameplay is about finding ways to turn into a child and then affect change that way.
I see.
But
Is that gold stuff in the background that we're seeing there?
yeah, that's what
Okay,
that
so
might be.
that's coming.
I see. We're gonna get a look at this gold here.
But there are some small mechanisms that if you can get enough birds with you, if you can kind of build up some numbers, you might be able to do something. Especially the section of the game that takes place before this has a lot of that type of interaction. And
All right.
carry it through into this cavern.
Now the landscape
Yeah.
that we're in almost has a looks like ancient ruins, maybe post-apocalyptic a little bit. Does that play into it?
With a lot of triangles too. I know
Yeah.
it's like kind of a polygonal look to a lot of this.
Yeah, I mean, we sort of have a particular aesthetic we're shooting for. You know, part of that's a concession to being a small team is that we can't do a ton of detail in things, so we're trying to pick an aesthetic that lets us work fast, but part of it's also that we just think it looks very good.
It's cool. It looks great. Yeah, so it does look like some sort of maybe an ancient civilization or something, to Meredith's point. I know you're being cagey on
Yeah.
details here, but
I'll continue to be cagey. It
yeah.
certainly could be.
and we'll continue to keep prodding and pestering.
How many years have you guys been working on this game so far?
3 years so far.
Wow. Okay. Great.
Yeah, it's been a long road, and we have some distance yet to go.
Now, what was there a moment or a game or a mechanic that inspired this? Like, what was somebody doodling someday and said, you know, this is what I want to do? Like, how did that kind of come together?
It was, I think we came across an atmosphere first. We came across sort of like a feeling in an atmosphere, and we wanted to build from that. And so it was sort of about like coming up with a look and then working backwards and sort of putting gameplay into that. And it was this sort of like this idea of the bird transforming into a child and a child transforming into a bird to kind of, I think, set all that off.
Now we're up to the orb. I noticed that was glowing before.
Yeah, we
Just kind of like light cues that let you know where to progress. Because with a game that's open,
Yeah.
you don't want a player to get lost. You want them to have some sort of arc to carry them through and know what to do next. So is light a big cue for you guys?
Yeah, we try to do what we can. We don't want to do too much. We don't want the player on a leash, but we also don't want the player to get lost. So it's like this is a game where we want people to feel free to explore, but not feel lost. So it's
Delicate balance.
It is a really delicate balance. It's something that's very challenging for us. And this is usually what like we don't put this stuff in until the last minute because we want to avoid putting in those kinds of hints, and then people get lost and we put them in. So.
this is a looker, all right. Now, what's it like to actually control the bird? Is it through the analog sticks, like?
Yeah, it's sort of a flight simmy, like a light flight sim.
Okay.
Type of controls, and it starts out with sort of the usually like inverted controls, but we have options to change that for people who are uncomfortable. But then a standard kind of platforming style third-person action adventure controls for the child.
Yeah, what are the actions that the child can actually do?
Well, he can the child can shout, which doesn't really do much in this segment. And then there's a couple of context-sensitive actions.
Okay.
Like you can pull, you can push stuff, but that's pretty much it. There's not
Does
a like
the
a
bird have a calling as well? If
yeah,
the
the
child
bird
yells?
can call out.
Okay.
Most of the actions have kind of similar analogs between the two forms, as much as we've managed to do that.
I see.
Yeah.
This is cool.
Yeah, I said this before. Again, the more and more I'm looking at this, I'm getting more and more of a Team Eco vibe. You know, something like, literally like Eco, something like The Last Guardian. I can see the market that this would appeal to, and I have to agree with the dude who said that this really does have a nice visual aesthetic, and it's very neat to look at. But I question how much mass appeal games like these will have. Granted, I mean, I think this is. I'm not saying this is an indie title because I don't know the studio that well, but it's just sometimes people make these really neat, like kind of like art piece games that I just don't think have a wide appeal. I mean, something like Fee, I think how to put it, I think that one has more appeal. Like you see something like Fee and it's a little brighter, it's a little more this that'll draw people into it than something like this. This seems dark and dreary, and even though the concept is neat, or this, and then you even get into it further, and you know it's like they said, oh well, we don't like to tell you too much where to go. Well, okay, but that can be very frustrating when you have no clue what you're supposed to be doing. You don't know the objective. So, I don't know. All in all, I don't get a great vibe out of this, but I don't get a great vibe out of games like this. So,
Yeah, so there's this sort of like weird kind of, we like these like weird forms and sort of like disturbing shapes, and you have to kind of plow through those sometimes. You know, to your point earlier about maybe this is a lost civilization, or maybe something came here before, and there's these hints to what might have happened, and you kind of unravel that as you play through the game.
Now, from like a replayability perspective, when this title's finally done, by the way, do you have a release time frame, or is it you still working away on it?
We're working on it, and we just want to finish it. We want it to be good.
Yeah, that's
So-
good. I mean, that's a good plan. Make it good.
Yeah.
But yeah, from a replayability perspective, are there going to be reasons for players to come back in and play this game again?
I imagine that the first time you play through this game, it won't make a ton of sense.
Oh, okay.
And so that it's once you get to the end, you might want to play it again to kind of get a little bit more context.
I see. Okay.
And there might be some things that you missed the first time. Like,
Okay.
Most of the stuff you're doing in this area here is actually optional. Like you don't have to set that bird free like
Okay.
you just did. And so, you know, like maybe.
well, okay, you don't have to set the bird free, but what does setting the bird free do for you? How about you explain that a little bit? Again, I understand they're trying to be cagey with the details, but I don't know. I think it's weird that you don't maybe give us a hint of what some of this optional stuff does, or if you want to be cagey, don't bring something like this to a show. If you ask me.
There's some of these things that you didn't manage to interact with the first time around, and seeing what kind of cumulative effect those might have had over the course of the game is something that we hope players might want to take another look at.
So is there sort of a cause and effect as you play through the game, and it kind of builds, and
Yeah.
sounds like there might be different things that happen?
Yeah, the whole game is kind of cause and effect. It's
Okay.
sort of like it's sort of like this strange place that you're exploring, and that sort of by just you coming into it sort of starts to fall out of balance, and starts and big kind of chain reactions start to take place. And
Interesting.
and so it's not just in the sort of crucial plot actions that you do, but in other things as well.
It's almost like side quests in a way, something that outside the main story that are optional, but
Sure.
still add to the whole of the game.
Yeah, and to be totally honest, we're actually not really sure what to do except for have those in the game. Like in terms of collectibles, we don't really want you to collect stuff.
Yeah.
So right now you just do them, and they happen, and maybe there's a cool plot reward down the line from it. But
Interesting. Now, are there any titles? This game has great mystique, and clearly you know that, and clearly you're trying to preserve that as much as possible, which I totally appreciate. Are there any titles that you personally look to for inspiration to kind of to do a good job with that layer of mystique?
one thing we always like to talk about is Another World.
I thought you were going to say that, actually.
Yeah, it's just like that it's like you're coming into this alien space, and it's up to you to start figuring out the rules, start figuring out why things are happening, and that's a big one for us.
I would like to know why, when that child moved the ball, that it almost like he built his own little city over here. It's like some walls started popping up, like doing some controlling of the architecture.
So, I mean, you notice that this sort of gold material on the child turned the bird into a child, and like it has some effects beyond that.
So it affects the environment as well.
Yeah.
Now, is that gold wearing off? Is that the idea?
Yeah. So it's you get sort of dusted in or coated in this sort of golden dust, and because we don't want the character to be yellow all the time, it kind of like ramps down as you move away from the gold pile. But
got it. So is that like a kind of a tension there? You have to kind of, or do you like, in other words, if you keep going, will you eventually turn back into the bird?
If you get to a place where like the dust would come off.
I see.
So like at the beginning, you jump off of a tall place, and so in doing that, like the gold sort of like falls off, and you turn back into a bird.
Got it.
Water, for instance, if you wade too deep into water, it might come off.
Okay.
So there's a couple of ways to get rid of the gold and a couple of ways to get it back.
Got it. Yeah, so it seems to me like, there's kind of two main sort of phases to playing in this game. One of them is you play as the bird. You're surveying these giant environments, kind of circling around them. And we've seen desert environments, before, and when you guys have given a look at the game in the past. And now we're seeing something that seems like maybe it's ancient ruins, but we don't know.
Definitely has more of an urban feel.
Yeah, and then so you're a bird, and you're sort of surveying and looking for points of interest, and then coming in as the child to sort of, as you said, affect change to the environment.
Yeah, so it's exactly that. It's like you've got this, as a bird, you have this freedom of movement, but you've got very limited agency. And as a child, you give up a lot of that freedom of movement for more agency.
Yeah.
And the game itself, like we're trying to build on top of that trade-off to an extent. It's you can read sort of, I guess there's some social metaphors in there that maybe we shouldn't get into.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But it's
sounds juicy.
Yeah.
Well, it's just the trade-off between freedom and progress to an extent, or
Now you can't die in this game, right? Because if you jump off the cliff, you immediately turn into the bird.
You won't die from falling off a cliff.
Oh, again, another cagey little answer. I like that.
My.
There is hazard in the game. It's just, especially at the beginning, it's not super apparent.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting.
But so you can see that we've released this thing by sitting on it with the other birds, and so we came back as a child, so we could open the cage and let the bird go.
Yeah. Now, what would be the advantage for the player in freeing these different birds that are sort of entrapped?
Thank you for that question.
It's not entirely clear at this point what that might entail. It does have some impact later on in the story.
Well, like you were saying earlier, when all the birds had to sit on the one mechanic together to make something happen, the more birds you release, the more they are to join you.
Yeah.
And use those mechanics.
There's certainly the part of the game before this involves much larger numbers of birds, and you use those numbers to your advantage, and so the player will kind of probably continue that instinct here in the cave, but whether or not you get the same result is a different question.
Yeah, beautiful game.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, it looks great.
So we've sort of landed on this thing and unleashed another pile of gold so that we can transform again, and hopefully this will lead us to that large golden seed that we sort of unlocked earlier.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens when the game does eventually come out on PS4. Very excited.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having us.
Game looks terrific.
I think I made all my opinions clear here. It's interesting concept, kind of like the last one. Maybe not for me, but I can see its audience. But again, I'm not a big fan of those. We're really not gonna give you any guidance. That's just me. I like freedom, but I like guidance. I like bullet points. I like something in like The Witcher, where massive open world, but there were tons of little points for me to check off and explore. In looking for these little marked places to explore, there was an even wider number. There were points that weren't, like special little come here and loot this point or come here do this. There were points that I could just find on my own while looking for those other points. I personally like that style as opposed to this more kind of figure it out yourself style. But overall, I mean, I like the art style. I'm also not a big fan of the whole, we're going to let you free these birds, but we're not going to tell you what the hell they do. And then you get further into the game, and then you find out and wish, oh man, I should have been releasing these birds this entire time. Nope, middle finger to you, you got to play it all over again. That's a little annoying to me. I mean, I get it, but I don't know. My personal opinion. All right, let's get into our final trailer for this video. It's something called The Forest. I believe this is a PS4 open world survival game.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are at PlayStation Experience 2017. We are still broadcasting from Anaheim. We have a ton of content ahead, including The Forest. And I am joined by Michael and Guillaume from End Night Games. Hello, gentlemen. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Justin's down there. He's looking good.
Well,
Hi, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.
Hi, buddy. I'm excited about this particular segment, not only to have you guys on the show, but also because The Forest is a open world, very non-linear experience where players just survive. And that sounds like my jam. It sounds like the jam of a lot of people that like games that just let you go and don't put you on a leash. And I think you guys brought gameplay demo.
That concept reminds me of something. Isn't it The Long Dark, where it's an open world, sort of stylized a survival game out in... I want to say it's in like... I'm not sure exactly where the game takes place, but it's in like frozen, cold wasteland. Not wasteland, but you know what I mean. Sort of post-apocalyptic, icy conditions.
But as we get that queued up, tell me a little bit about what was the starting point, that like kernel that began The Forest? Or I should say an acorn that began the Forest.
An acorn? Well, I guess it was heavily inspired by Minecraft. Just that, obviously, player freedom, but also that sense of when it first goes dark in Minecraft, and then it suddenly becomes this totally different experience where it's it's scary and all the zombies and things are coming out, and you got to fend them off. And I think we wanted to sort of take that idea, but do it in a really with really realistic graphics, and pour as much of the kind of cool effects and things into it as we could, and then base the game around that kind of experience.
Kind of put your own spin on that one particular element that you really enjoyed. So what kind of makes it your own spin? What kind of makes the game? What are people going to be attached to when they start playing this? What's going to make people want to come back and play more?
The name The Forest.
Well, it's a survival horror game. So there's obviously the survival aspect, but then there's quite a elaborate building component to everything. Okay. Like we have a very simple to use but elaborate building system, and you can chop down every single tree in the forest and create either like a little shack in the woods if you want, or a giant seaside. You can cover the whole land in wooden castles if you want. We've had players that have done that in the past.
Cool. Looks like we've got some gameplay up here.
Yeah, let's get it.
So yeah, you can feel free to narrate what we're seeing. Explain to us kind of what we're seeing here.
This is the very beginning of the game. This is how you start. You start on a plane with your son next to you.
So I'm going to take a wild guess that this plane ride is not going to end very well.
Well, things go bad pretty quickly.
I've got a flight in a couple days. Don't do this. It's like watching Final Destination and then not wanting to travel anywhere.
Yep, it can never go well for a video game airplane ride.
So this time you get to survive.
Oh, yeah.
Wonder if we're going to see this thing in VR.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah.
Or maybe this is a VR title and I'm just...
Get a little more setup.
That's where you get the beginning of the story.
Whoa.
So that's your son, and
Mysterious character.
yeah.
What is going on? You
That was cool.
You pass out, wake up the next day.
Are you serious? Come on. Why would you do that to me? This is such a hard way to start a game.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
This
well.
is not what I was
You're just
expecting.
going to tug at the heartstrings right away.
Tired, hungry, and you don't know where you are.
You don't know where your son's gone, obviously, but.
You told me this game was called The Forest. I thought we were going to like go for a nice stroll.
There's like mystical sprites wafting about, and nope, it is brutal survival horror.
No, there are parts of the.
All right, now that I'm looking at it,
quite tranquil, and when you're not.
now that I'm looking at it, this is reminding me of Dead Island a little bit, like right when you first wake up in the hotel.
Being harassed by anybody, and you're just building. It's there.
Does that time come?
Yeah.
So there are quiet moments.
At the beginning of the game, is prety quiet, like.
Okay.
Unless you get really unlucky.
See how pretty it is. You're in a nice forest. It's
You guys have deceived me once.
And I believe you guys have written that this game is largely like your childhood adventures in a forest if you threw in a bunch of crazy cannibals and really horrifying, life-threatening situations.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
Super.
that childhood ideal of just playing in a forest with your friends and running around with sticks and making up adventures, and that's kind of the once you get into multiplayer, like that's literally what you do. You just run around with your buddies and
make a little shack.
do cool stuff.
Yeah.
It's like,
The animation on that hatchet swing that you keep doing there, it looks super intense. How long did you spend trying to get that animation just right?
Just that one.
that was actually one of the first ones we put in. Like,
Yeah?
when we first put in the suitcases on the ground, and then we realized you should probably be able to break them open, right? So we put in the downward axe chop, and then it kind of worked pretty well.
Yeah.
First time,
So here's a question I often ask developers that come on and have open world experiences that they've been designing. How do you as a team manage that sort of spectrum between giving a player direction or helping them understand what they can do and not putting them on a leash and just having everything, the gameplay itself? I mean, where do you find that balance, and how do you guys design around that?
Yeah, that was definitely an issue, like, because we wanted to go like from the beginning, like kind of just full open, like no missions, no NPCs telling you what to do,
Right.
like very little guidance at all. And we kind of, at one point, we had to put in that opening cutscene with your son being taken away to kind of give you some direction,
Right.
like give you an overarching goal to sort of work towards if you want to, but then apart from that, then we just kind of set players loose in the world and let them go. But then we scatter the world with lots of little environmental storytelling things. Like there's lots of clues to find, and the more you explore, you'll start to discover, little hints about what's actually happening on the
Oh, that's cool.
maybe where your son's gone.
I'll probably get curious about the story too.
Yeah. I mean, most people just start the game and start building stuff like straight away.
Yeah,
And
I see
no-
we're getting into some building here right now.
Yeah, so
there
Evan's
we
just
go.
crafted himself a nice axe,
Oh, nice.
and he's probably going to chop down a tree soon. There we go.
Yeah, I was going to say, so far this seems very peaceful besides the horrific crash at the beginning of the demo.
Yeah, well, it's good to have the light contrast the
Yes.
darkness that
Is
comes.
there
That comes
something
later.
where the enemies are going to come just when you don't expect them and they're going to scare the crap out of you? Or are you going to kind of know what you're getting into when you go into those situations?
It happens.
Yeah.
You get surprised sometimes.
Yeah, because the enemies, or the creatures that live here, just kind of roam the land. Like they have their own sort of goals and paths that they take, and they'll come and investigate noises. And if you make a fire at night, that'll tend to draw attention. And
So I couldn't choose to just live out a peaceful life in the forest here.
you can try, like, like there are remote parts of the map that are less inhabited, and
Oh, yeah.
if you don't chop down trees, if you don't light fires, you could huddle in a cave somewhere. And
If you don't play the game, then nobody will come after you.
yeah, but you could.
How far does the building system go? Because you had mentioned that there's some light base building. Is that actually pretty advanced, or is it just like, basic defenses that you can help hold down your
It
area
goes
at night?
pretty far. From the start, you're just going to make like a little shack
Right.
and some fire to warm up, maybe some storage to keep items for later. And then as time goes on, maybe you want more safety, build some traps. And if you want to be creative or just make something big. Then we have all those bricks that are procedural, and you can make little foundation and then add some walls on it, and then some floors, make multi-floor structures.
Nice.
You can cut holes in the floors, put some stairs through it, so you can go all the way.
So it's like full-on base building going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that UI, let me talk about that UI for a second.
Yeah.
I'm such a UI junkie, so that looked so nice. But here we're getting a little bit of the, I think a shack is going to be going up right now, our little cabin in the woods.
Just putting up a few walls.
that's the procedural walls.
This is actually exactly what it's like to build.
in the wilderness, this is how you build. Yeah.
I have a question. Is our hero ever going to get to take a bath? Because his arm's looking pretty rough there.
Oh yeah, that's a really good question.
You can go in water and wash.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it'll wash
Absolutely.
off when because you can actually get infected if you leave it too long.
Oh, really?
What?
Yeah, you'll get some negative.
I mean, I was making a gag, but I guess that's actually a mechanic in the game.
Yeah.
And then tell us a little bit about, there's some stealth components to the forest as well, correct?
Yep.
How does that mix in with the survival, and like when would that benefit you versus just going sprinting into the forest with an axe drawn?
I mean, it really depends on your playstyle, I guess. Like depending where you are in the forest, you get more of a stealth bonus. Like if you're surrounded by trees and crouching and not moving, then you're generally pretty hidden from view. If you go right into a bush and just sit there, then you're basically completely hidden. Enemies should walk straight past you.
And you have a little indicator on the screen, so you know if you have a chance of being stealthy.
I love how organically you guys are conveying information here. Rather than just like having an icon pop up when you gather something. You're physically carrying it and you stack them, so I assume you can only carry a few at a time of any given object.
Yeah, you can carry like 2 logs at a time. It took like 5 logs to make that one piece of wall that was a door. So, yeah, I mean, to make a little cabin like that, it's not going to take you that long.
Yeah, and I like how
5 or 6 trees.
you're basically laying out a blueprint of your structure,
Yeah.
and you can build it over time, right?
Yeah, you put it down and then you plonk it down in the world where you want, and that's really good when you're playing with multiple people, because then you can all just come in and start like working on the same object, because everyone sees each other's blueprints. So it's
You've got the nice little kind of reminder in the bottom left corner showing you the things that you need to build what you've laid out to, it looks like. So yeah, it looks like you guys have gone really kind of user-friendly, very kind of simple in terms of the way the crafting stuff works. About as simple as a complex crafting system like this can be.
Yeah, definitely. We're always trying to just make it as simple and as visual as you can. Like we really don't like having tutorials if we can avoid it. And,
I like that he's still carrying a lighter in broad daylight, just to...
Is that, on the bottom right, is that a hunger and thirst meter I see there?
Yeah, it's your, it tracks your health with the red bar, and you have stamina with the blue one.
Gotcha.
Every action you'll be draining a little bit of stamina, and you can take things to replenish that. And then there's the stomach, which is your food level, and the water next to that.
And can you forgive me if I'm wrong, but were you guys had an early access release on other platforms? Is that correct?
Yeah, it's been in PC early access.
What tell us a little bit about what kind of learnings that brings you, because the games that I track that do early access style releases, it seems like you can learn a lot from your early player base, and your game from the time that it starts to the time that it formally launches is often very different.
Yeah, it was.
See, every time we see this, I really like the visual style they're going with when you're crafting. How you have the tarp laid out and you have you have everything that you've picked up and it's in your inventory. It's not just a simple going through menus to craft things. You actually have to find the item on this mat to bring it to the center and craft. I think that looks so cool.
Yeah, learning experience for us, because once we released the early access back in 2014, and then it did quite well straight away, and we were always sort of imagining we'd be done within 6 months to a year after that, and then we started setting these timers where it's like, okay, we'll release a patch in roughly every 3 weeks, and there's a timer in the game which tells you when the next patch is coming.
Cool.
So it kind of keeps us to a schedule and keeps the players from getting too upset about when the next update would be coming. But then that just
You're being transparent.
Yeah. But then that sort of process, just like the game kept growing in popularity, and people just kept requesting all sorts of things they wanted to see. And we only had single player in the beginning, and everyone was calling for multiplayer, so we decided to put it in co-op, which was a big change after.
That's not just something that you can, wander over and drop into your game, right?
Well, we thought we could, but yeah, that's.
How big is the team?
Well, I mean, there's
Under 10 people.
we're under 10 people at the moment. We're sort of the 5 full-time developers that have been working on it for the full 4 years, and then we've had quite a big outsourcing team.
Awesome.
I mean, Guillaume works from France, and me and Ben and Anna, who are the owners of the company, are based in Vancouver, and then our sound guys were in Australia, and we've had some contractors doing art and things like that over the years, and it's.
Are you guys ever able to get the whole team together to catch up on things, or just to grab a drink?
Yeah, normally when we go to shows like this, we'll fly people down, and then once a year or so.
Or for a barbecue, just get everybody together.
Yeah, we've come across a nice little gathering area here. Maybe we could all meet up in the game here and grill up a rabbit or something.
Tell us a little bit about that. When you said co-op, what kind of co-op are we talking about? Is it local? Is it online? How's it set up?
It's online. Like one person hosts the game, and then other people join into his game. So it's just peer-to-peer. And it's, normally between 4 to 8 people.
Oh, wow.
This is sort of limit we have.
That's still a lot. Yeah.
But, I mean, it's not supposed to be like a big kind of, battle royale between different camps or anything. It's more
Definitely not PvP,
Yeah, it's not designed as PvP. I mean, you could play it that way if you wanted to, but...
You can grief people.
Yeah, there's a lot of griefing that goes on. But, yeah, the idea is you all crash on the same plane, so you'll have 4 people wake up instead of 1.
I see.
And then the game is exactly the same in multiplayer. Even in terms of the story, like you can play through the story content with 4 people versus 1. And yeah, it's just the fun it brings from having other people. It really changes just the tone of the game, whereas in single player, this is still the kind of idyllic part of it, but once it gets really scary and people say they don't like playing it.
Yeah, I imagine that changes when you've got more people.
Yeah, but then they say, but I play it with my husband in multiplayer and we have a great time. So
yeah. So we've got just a makeshift spear that we've built here out of a stick. And I saw our player trying to kill some rodents with it earlier.
Go hunting. And I think we missed that he had found a photograph or something, right, on the ground. Is that one of those environmental story cues you mentioned?
Oh, right.
Well, we'll see it later.
Yeah.
we have rabbits to hunt.
We wandered past a rope going down into a hole in the ground, which we sadly walked right past. I was kind of hoping they would go down there so we would see what happened.
Well, we might be able to go back there if we get enough time, because if we don't run into any enemies.
Oh yeah, right here.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
I don't know, guys. This looks a little risky.
We're doing it.
All right, we're going. We're going down.
There we go.
Okay, get that later.
Oh yeah, this isn't the setup to a horror film.
Network of caves that's like below the ground. This is where we keep a lot of the really scary stuff, and also a lot of the higher level items and cool things you might want to collect. But you've got to go through the
high risk, high reward.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of the story content you can find through caves
and creatures.
What is going on? Those little worms?
Yeah, this is probably not recommended to do this unless you're more prepared. But
okay, are you kidding me?
What the F?
No!
Get him!
Hey.
Yeah! Oh god.
I didn't know. I thought this was like a normal forest.
This isn't
not
the forest anymore.
This is the worst kind of forest.
All right, that was my question. I was like, are we just dealing with like cannibals or whatever? But nope, supernatural crap. Great.
Oh god. So wait, if you torch that thing and cook it, could you then eat it?
Not that one.
Not that one?
Not that one.
Not healthy?
There's other types you can actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, more regular animals.
So when we first saw this thing, I saw our hero open up the crafting menu. Does time pass while you're crafting, or does that mercifully pause the game for you so you have a moment to collect your thoughts?
No, there's no mercy in this game, clearly.
In single player, yeah, it's going to pause the game.
Oh, yeah?
In multiplayer, it's not possible, obviously, so it doesn't. And if you go in the harder difficulty modes, then it doesn't pause either. So we really got to go prepared into fights.
Okay, so that didn't seem to be too happy of an ending for.
Well, on that happy note of terrifying horrors and being hung upside down, it seems like.
Yeah.
Seems like the
it doesn't end there. Like
no, certainly not. Before we let you guys go, do you have any parting words, or are you guys talking about when you would like to target a release date on PS4?
Yeah, no, we're targeting the second quarter of 2018.
So we're coming up on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're the PS4 Pro.
All right. Excellent.
Really excited to try and get it out there.
I'm excited to be terrified.
Scared.
Yeah, totally excited and scared. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on the program. Good luck to finish what it sounds like a long and terrifying journey in development. And everyone that is joining us, thank you guys so much for watching. We still have a lot ahead, so please stay with us. We are still broadcasting from PlayStation Experience 2017 in Anaheim, California. Do not go anywhere. Stay with us.
Okay, it looks like we got like a trailer or something. Some Evil Dead shit right there. Oh, you make like a little cart? All right, definitely. That looks awesome. I think that's probably the best looking thing I've seen at PSX this year. I really like the concept. I am all for that game. I'll probably play that on the channel when that comes out. Like I said, guys, that's I'm not sure. That's probably going to be all you're going to see from me today, at least from PSX, just because I'm. Like I said, I'm leaving in an hour or so, and I need to finish packing up. So, thanks for watching. Facebook, Twitter, the website, minds.com. Links, all that stuff is in the description below. Like, comment, you're not already. Please subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for more next time. Until then, I'm AJ Gels, the Sim Gaming Channel. I'm out.